whole offseason there was some talk going back and forth with the 49ers championship game. Do you expect any chippiness in this game?
I just know that this game's going to be about two good teams. Coming in here and having a good game. I got a lot of respect for the guys over there and Coach Shanahan and his coaches. There's a lot of good players on the San Francisco 49ers. Some of the best players in the world over there. So, this is a 2023, right? And it's not 2022. Very similar to what we responded with the Chiefs stuff, like going into the Chiefs game, right? There's different players on this team. There's different players on their team. Shoot, one of our better players from last year is on their team, right? And so, this is about the 2023 Eagles versus the 2023 Niners. Both teams are doing well. It's going to be a heck of a battle.
You have two healthy off-ball linebackers at this moment on the 53. What's the plan at that position?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know where they will be at the end of the week. I'm hopeful with these guys, and so I got a lot of faith in the guys that we have in that room, and we'll see how their rehab continues throughout the week. We have some guys in the practice squad, and obviously you guys know somebody's in the building as well.
Who's that? You guys haven't played a whole lot of games that have been 60 minutes of probably what you would accept as standard Eagles football. Is there a sense, and is that a message you want to get to these guys, that you're going to have to play 60 minutes Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, shoot. We played how many minutes? We played 70 minutes last week, right? And then it was
good minutes.
Yeah, and then obviously the week before with Kansas City, and so we know when you play good football teams like we're about to play this week, you're gonna have to be ready to go for 60 minutes. Shoot, that's usually the case in the NFL, that you're playing all 60 minutes. It's a battle till the end. Think about how many games come down to one-score games. Now, we've been in 2 overtime games this year. Obviously, the Kansas City game before that, those are the ones that are on my mind right now. Our strength and conditioning and our trainers do a great job with our guys with their conditioning. And the guys do a really good job of working their conditioning because it takes both parts. And so, we feel like we'll be ready to go, especially after, and we'll do the right things this week to not only get us ready to play the game, but also get our bodies ready to play the game, because we knew we had a lot of plays there on Sunday against the Bills.
You mentioned Shaq's in the building. What's that process like for you? Obviously, you have a relationship. You got to prepare for the 49ers, but when somebody comes into the building during the week, what's that process like for you?
Yeah, you just shuffle things around a little bit. You get in a little bit earlier to get some things done, so you can have a little bit more time to spend. And so, being able to, any guy that comes in here, I want to spend time with them and talk to them. Obviously, there's a prior relationship there. I was close with him when we were in Indy. I just thought you can learn so much from good players. So and just think about how he went about how he attacked the day, and also how he saw the game as an offensive coach. That was always a good perspective talking to him, and I just had so much respect for him. So it was good to just be able to catch up with him and relive some memories, but also just talk about a little bit about what this building's like.
If it just comes down to his...
You only saw Brock Purdy for the first quarter in the NFC Championship game. What are you seeing that's different about him this year, or not?
Yeah, I think he's a winner, and that goes back to I obviously played with his college coach and a bunch of guys that were on that staff. We were all at Mount Union together, and they've been talking about this guy for a long time. I mean, he led them to the Fiesta Bowl, and then so he's a winner, and he just continues to win. So I think you saw that, last year leading up, all last year, and then also what he's doing this year. And so I think he's got good athleticism. I think he knows where to go with the football in a timely fashion, and I think he's accurate going there. And those are the things you want in a quarterback. And so hats off to him that he's continued, and Kyle and their staff of putting him in good positions and continuing to develop this guy. And I just think the guy's a winner, and I got a lot of respect for him, and you can see that on tape.
Hey, Nick, with Shaq, did he pass his physical, and are you confident that you guys are
Gonna be able to start.
Yeah, I don't even know all that. Yeah, I just got a chance to talk to him this morning, and I probably wouldn't give you that information either way. But yeah, I don't know where we are with all that. I know he's meeting with some of the coaches right now. I got to meet with them, and we'll see with all the other stuff.
If it comes down to his decision, what's your pitch?
Shoot, yeah, good question. All I'll ever do is just be honest with them and tell them what the situation is here, what the situation is in this building. I think the pitch is just the guys that we have in this building, and some of them he has a prior relationship to. But I think just I want Shaq to make the decision what's best for him. So because again, when there's that prior relationship, you want to make sure that, and that's what I said to him. I just want you to make the best decision for you. Take all the information from both places and do what's best for you. And so, I've called him a bunch the last couple days, and he'll make the decision that's best for him. I'm confident in that. He's a good person.
What do you think about Jordan Phillips' false start, or offsides on the tush push?
Yeah, he definitely did it.
And Kelsey had strong words about how it was handled. Do you feel like this is something that teams will resort to increasingly?
No, I mean, no. Yeah, I don't think so. But we'll see. We'll see. There's people are going to try every different way to stop the play, and we'll have to be ready for everything.
Nick, you guys.
What are keys to getting off to a faster start this weekend?
Yeah. Obviously, everything that you do is we don't start with things that, I mean, there's different ways you're starting, right? There's things you want to set up, there's things you want to see, but you always want to start off fast. And so it's just us putting the guys in positions to succeed, and the guys executing. It will always come down to that. Sometimes we've been pretty successful here in this past 2 years of our opening drives, a lot with our opening drives of going down and being able to get points. Obviously, last week and the week before that were, I think you need to look at the entire body of work. But I also understand that we're judged on our last game or our last 2 games. So that's not something we know we've been pretty good at that. Not something at all that we're hitting a panic button on. We just got to do a better job putting the guys in positions to succeed, and then just the execution. It will always be that.
Nick, the 49ers did a lot of talking in the offseason, and even one player calling another player trash on this Eagles team. Did you talk to your players at all through this whole time or even this week about how you want them to handle it, and are you happy with the way they've handled it?
Again, I just think it's just such different teams. It's the 2023 Eagles versus the 2023 Niners. And so, all we talk about is there's no greater motivation than not wanting to let each other down. I mean, that's our connect piece, right? Because there's always going to be outside motivations. I say this all the time, right? Whether you're going to play against your hometown team in Buffalo, whether you're going back playing a team that beat you in the Super Bowl, whether there's a rematch in the NFC, like there's that each and every week. You're playing against a former teammate of yours. But again, at the end of the day, we want to put in the work that we need to put into the week, just so we don't want to let each other down, because we know it's the best teams that win, not the best groups of individuals. So that's our message throughout anything like this, regardless of the circumstances, is let's go to work for each other this week, because we know we got a close-knit group of guys.
How has Chase Young's addition impacted what was already a pretty good pass rush?
Obviously, they're outstanding on the defensive line, and he's an outstanding player as well. So they just added to a really solid group, a really good group. We obviously, I guess this year was the first year that since I've been here that Chase played against us twice this season, and so had a lot of respect for the way he looked, the way he plays. Think very highly of him as a player, and to add him, with Armstead and with Bosa and with Javon, and then they got depth behind that. Obviously, that was a good. It's paid dividends for them, and they're really solid on that defensive line.
You guys
What's
are
your-
underdogs for this game, Nick. What's your reaction to that?
Again, not going to get wrapped into what anybody else thinks of us, whether that's another team, whether that's, whoever makes the spreads or anything like that. We just worry about going to work for ourselves. But, I think going into last year and the year before that, no one really thought we would be any good. And I think that it's okay. It's okay to be the underdog. This city, I said on the radio the other day, like before I ever stepped foot in the city, all I knew about this city was Rocky versus Apollo Creed, and this city plays the underdog well.
Nick, what's your view on point differential, and is that a data point that you value?
No, you get because there's different things you do to win each and every game, and there's times that you do different things that at the end of games you're just trying to preserve the win, or you're trying to really take the other team out. Like there's all these different ways to say it. Like we just got to find ways to win football games. And I think over the body of the year that you get something out of it. But at the end of the day, the stats I'm really looking at are the turnover differential and the explosive play differential. If you do a good job on those, the better you do in those is probably, goes and correlates to the point differential. So we really focus on those two statistics, and we need to make a jump on especially the turnovers. So we're working to do that. Our players are working to do that. But I think that correlates to your question. It's just a stat that I don't look at quite as much as the other one.
Locker room is open, and we'll do a couple more in here.
As far as Dallas Goedert goes, he wasn't put on IR, so maybe the expectation is he comes back against Dallas. But is his rehab progressing maybe to the point where he could, I know you don't like to put a timeline on it, but could he potentially be in play for Sunday?
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, I need to be around him today, be on the field with him. And today's even a walkthrough, so, obviously won't get all that I need from that, but, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I can't answer that quite yet just because, so much time, so many things have to happen and before that.
As somebody who's built offenses, designed plays, what makes Kyle so good at it?
Yeah, he's been really good at for a long time at this, and I think he does a really good job as I watch, meshing his system together, and there's things that look alike that one thing looks like this, and then it's a play action pass, or it's a shot, or it's a run, and they all marry together really good. I think you've always seen that his quarterbacks play well, and I think you also see that I always admire how his receivers play. You can see he has a background in receiver play. I've obviously know a couple guys. Julio has. I'll let Julio say what he feels about him, but I know he has a lot of respect for him, and you see that. Pierre Garçon played for him, and Pierre had some of it that I know, and I know Pierre had some of his best years with him, so I always admire that as well. But he's an outstanding coach, outstanding. The other thing is, like, I look at myself, I grew up going to football practices. I'm sure he did the same, and he's been around this sport for a long time. So, and so just a ton of respect for him and the job he's done and continues to do over there.
Can I ask a lighthearted Shaq Leonard question? It's been a few decades or a few years since you recruited. How are you as a recruiter?
I don't know. I don't know. It's been a few decades, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I just always try to tell them the positives about our place, and and it's not all that different than connecting with your own teammates, where you find common things that you have in common, and you talk to them about it. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd be cut out for the college game of recruiting. I don't know how good I am. We'll see.